What if I told you that the real danger signs in a relationship aren't the ones we talk about openly, but the ones hidden in plain sight, the tiny lies we miss until it's too late? Today, we're diving deep. 4 lies. Every woman tells before she cheats what most men miss. Watch all the way through, because even if you think your relationship is rock solid, these are the warning signs you can't afford to ignore. Welcome back to the channel. Whether you're here because you're worried, curious, or just trying to understand relationships better, you're in exactly the right place. What we're talking about today isn't about blaming women or fueling insecurities. It's about understanding subtle patterns of dishonesty that happen before infidelity, the psychology behind them, and how you can become more aware, so you're not blindsided by betrayal. Let's clear something up from the start. Lying is a human behavior. Men and women both do it. But here's the catch. Even the smartest, most loving men tend to miss these lies because they don't sound like lies at all. They sound completely reasonable. That's what makes them dangerous. So, without further ado, let's go through these 4 lies in depth, what they sound like, why they're told, and what you need to look out for if you want to protect your relationship and yourself. The first lie, probably the most common and most overlooked, is, "I'm just really busy lately." Now, let's break this down. This isn't some Hollywood-style red flag billowing in the wind excuse. It's subtle. Everyone gets busy. Everyone feels overwhelmed sometimes. But when you look closely, you'll start to notice a shift. Maybe she used to text you constantly, but now you're getting one-word replies. Maybe she used to share every funny moment from her day, but now you're lucky if you get a 5-minute window before she has to run off. Here's where the lie sneaks in. It's not that she isn't busy. If someone is consistently using busyness as a reason for emotional distance, especially when that wasn't the norm before, what most men miss is that it's often not the full story. Emotional withdrawal is a classic precursor to infidelity because cheating isn't just about physical contact. It usually starts with emotional distance. So, what should you pay attention to? The change. Not just the fact that she's busy, but that she's using that busyness as a screen for not engaging, not sharing, not wanting to be present the way she used to. Don't jump to accusations, but don't ignore the shift either. The second lie, he's just a friend. If you've ever heard this one, you know exactly why it's tricky. In the age of social media, open workspaces, and massive friend circles, men and women inevitably have friends of the opposite sex, and that's not a problem, until it is. The sentence, "he's just a friend," is usually said with total confidence. And sometimes it's 100% true. Maybe she starts talking more about this friend. Inside jokes you don't get, texting late at night, suddenly going to events just with him. Women, just like men, can form deep emotional connections with friends. Sometimes that connection crosses a line before anyone realizes that line has been crossed. One thing studies have shown is that emotional cheating often precedes physical cheating for women, and it almost always begins with a friend. Here's the real danger. If you express concern, you risk sounding jealous, controlling, or old-fashioned. Most men back off, wanting to be a nice guy and trust their partner. Meanwhile, the emotional gap keeps growing. So what do? Pay attention not just to who the friend is, but to the patterns. Is there secrecy about the nature of the friendship? Are you being excluded? Are conversations and emotional investments shifting from you to this other person? But a sudden need for drastically more alone time, and especially when it's paired with irritability if you ask questions, that's a pattern worth noticing. Sometimes this is coupled with a change in appearance or new interests, more trips to the gym, new social events, or unexplained outings. Maybe her schedule suddenly shifted and you're not the first to know. This particular lie isn't about the desire to be alone, it's about masking new priorities. She might be exploring a new connection or considering options. The phrase, "I want some space," is vague, emotionally cold, and if it comes out of nowhere, it's often the beginning of someone emotionally checking out and sometimes physically stepping out. Men often miss this because they're taught to respect boundaries and avoid being controlling. But you don't have to be controlling to recognize when an ordinary need for space has tipped into a desire to pull away from the relationship itself. Also, if you're ready to fast-track your success, check out my new course in the description or comments for exclusive strategies. But when this phrase becomes a blanket excuse, covering every change in mood, every awkward silence, every missing piece of intimacy, there's usually more going on beneath the surface. This lie is particularly dangerous because it prevents real conversations from happening. If she's closing off, not wanting to talk about issues, and using tiredness as a catch-all explanation, there's a good chance she's hiding not just dissatisfaction, but something she doesn't want you to know. Yet. Now let's pause. If you recognize any of these patterns in your relationship, don't panic. Don't start accusing your partner. These lies, by themselves, aren't proof of cheating, but they are signs of emotional withdrawal, secrets, and shifting priorities. It's just as dangerous for a relationship when these sorts of lies persist as it is when infidelity has already happened. Why do women tell these lies? But here's the hard truth. Sparing someone's feelings with a lie is almost always about sparing yourself from discomfort. It's self-protection, not real kindness. There's another psychological layer here too. When someone is seriously considering cheating or is already emotionally involved elsewhere, they need to construct a version of events for themselves, a narrative that justifies the secrecy. These small lies act as stepping stones, letting the cheater justify bigger lies and bigger betrayals down the road. So what do most men miss? It's the subtlety. Most men believe cheating means wild changes, suddenly staying out late, changing passwords, or coming home smelling like someone else's perfume. But the most common pattern is incremental drift. She'll tell you she's busy, then she'll say nothing's wrong, then she'll make you the bad guy if you bring up your concerns. All the while you feel more distant, more unsure, and, worst of all, less secure in your own instincts. And in many cases, that's exactly what women want you to be, because it means you won't dig deeper or spot the small red flags. Some of you are probably wondering, what can you do about it? How can you tell the difference between a healthy need for space or privacy and the kind of distance that signals dishonesty? Here's what I recommend. First, trust your instincts, but verify with empathy. If something feels off, it probably is. Initiate an honest conversation, without accusation, sarcasm, or hostility. Use I statements. I've noticed we're not spending as much time together, and I miss how it used to be. Is there something I can do, or something on your mind that you want to talk about? This reduces defensiveness and opens up room for the truth. Second, look for patterns, not just isolated incidents. Anyone can be tired, busy, or want alone time. If you're finding it harder and harder to connect, ask yourself whether you're truly being given the love and partnership you deserve, or if you're being strung along with little half-truths. Let's talk about the aftermath. If you do uncover a lie, whether it's big or small, resist the urge to explode. Instead, focus on what you want from the relationship and communicate calmly. Cheating, and the lies that lead up to it, often point to bigger structural weaknesses: a lack of emotional connection, unspoken resentments, or mismatched values. You owe it to yourself to figure out if they can be repaired, or if it's healthier to walk away. Here's something crucial to keep in mind. It's not about being perfect, never letting her out of your sight, or becoming paranoid about every new male friend or late night at work. Relationships thrive on trust, autonomy, and space. But that trust is earned through honesty, not blind faith. People lie not just when they're cheating, but when they're scared, unhappy, or don't know how to express dissatisfaction. Catching these lies early can be an opportunity to repair things before shifting attention outside the relationship becomes a temptation. A lot of people will tell you, if she's going to cheat, there's nothing you can do to stop her. That's only partially true. You can't control another person's choices, but you can control your own awareness and your own boundaries. By refusing to ignore toxic patterns, by confronting issues directly and compassionately, and by holding yourself to a standard of honesty, you make it harder for lies to take root. At the end of the day, remember, good relationships aren't built on promises that nothing will ever go wrong. They're built on the willingness to face the truth, even when it's uncomfortable, and the commitment to work through challenges together. Loyalty, honesty, and real intimacy thrive in the open. Thanks for watching. If you want to get the results you wish for fast, then check my limited time offer on my new course, which will skyrocket your success in dating. Click the link right now down below in the description or in the comments, and grab this opportunity. See you in there.